were named James and Thomas. The Bible identifies James and Thomas as full brothers. Jesus, on the other hand, is identified as their half-brother. Thomas is not only identified as Jesus' younger half-brother, he is also called Jesus' twin. But how could Thomas possibly be Jesus' younger half-brother and his twin at the same time? The historical records show that Cleopatra had 3 children fathered by Mark Antony. 2 of them were a twin boy and girl. Isa Caesarion clearly had a younger half-brother who is also a twin. At the scene of the crucifixion, there were 2 Marys present. One was Mary of Bithynia. When Roman Emperor Octavian invaded Egypt, Cleopatra sent her 13-year-old son Caesarion to India with Mary of Bithynia and Mary's wealthy uncle-husband named Joseph of Arimathea. Since Caesarion was the true heir to the Roman Empire, Emperor Octavian wanted him killed. Mary and Joseph became Caesarion's adoptive parents and later his loyal disciples. The second Mary present at the crucifixion was Jesus' younger half-sister, Mary Magdalene, whose birth name was Selene. She is also identified in the Bible as Mary of Cleopas, meaning Mary of Cleopatra. Selene was the orphan daughter of Cleopatra and Mark Antony, who both committed suicide. After being captured by Emperor Octavian, Selene was raised in Octavian's royal household with her 2 brothers and with Octavian's son, Tiberius, who became the next Roman emperor. They were raised together by the emperor's sister, Octavia. Selene eventually married and became the Queen of Mauritania. Like her mother Cleopatra, Selene wore the headdress of the goddess Isis. Selene's half-brother Caesarion finally returned to Egypt after 17 years in hiding. He searched for Selene and found her. He was now called Jesus Christ, a name with the same initials as his father, J.C., for Julius Caesar. He told Selene about his plan to capture his father's kingdom, the Roman Empire, which Emperor Octavian had stolen from him. He told her he would capture it not with weapons and armies, but by creating a new religion and transforming the Roman Empire into the Holy Roman Empire. Selene agreed to join her brother's spiritual revolution. She changed her name from Selene to Magdalene by adding the word Magda to her name, which means high place in Hebrew. Jesus Caesarion also searched for and found his 2 half-brothers, one of whom was Selene's twin. His nickname was Thomas Didymus, which means twin in Greek and Hebrew. 17 years after her suicide, Cleopatra's 4 children were all reunited again. Why are the pages of the Bible silent about where Jesus was and what he did for 17 years from the age of 13 to 30?
Perhaps the most unusual legend of the missing years recounts a journey that would have taken Jesus thousands of miles from Nazareth. He would have traveled across 2 seas to England, a land whose history would become intertwined with Christian mythology. To this day, in southern England, in Cornwall, villagers speak of Jesus having once walked here. Beneath these rolling meadows, the earth is laced with tin. 2,000 years ago, the story goes, the gospel character Joseph of Arimathea came to England to trade for the precious metal. And according to the legend, he brought with him his nephew, Jesus of Nazareth. At that time, ancient England was inhabited by the pagan Celts. Their religious leaders, the Druids, believed they were descended from a divine being. They also believed in an immortal soul. Some people in these valleys speculate that the Druids adapted their pagan religion to Christianity not because they had heard stories of the Messiah, but because they had seen him. However, most scholars believe that it was the conquering Romans who arrived 2 centuries later who would convert the Druids to Christianity by persuasion and genocide. Since they were first found in a desert cave in 1947, the Dead Sea Scrolls have fueled speculation about the life of Jesus. Was he a member of the religious community which wrote the scrolls? They were found at Qumran, an easy walk from the very spot where it is said Jesus was baptized by John. The scrolls detail the beliefs of a Jewish sect called the Essenes, a group that flourished during the lifetime of Jesus. The beliefs of the Essenes often seem to mirror the teachings of Jesus.
Zealots.
Jesus' band of revolutionaries included not only the Essenes, but a violent Hebrew terrorist group called the Zealots, who evolved into today's Zionists.
We're going to a wedding.
There is speculation that Jesus married his half-sister, Mary Magdalene. The Bible describes a wedding party in which Jesus uses his godly powers to magically turn water into wine for the party guests. Why did the Bible fail to name the names of the bride and groom at the wedding party? Is it because the names of the bride and groom were Jesus and Mary Magdalene? Since Jesus Caesarean learned the art of healing and meditation in India, and since he was provided with a foot support to stand on the cross, and since he was taken down from the cross after only 6 hours, and since he was treated with expensive royal healing oils, did he survive the wounds of his crucifixion? Since Jesus and his wealthy Hebrew relatives all knew about Jesus' arrest and crucifixion in advance, was it planned, along with stories of his resurrection, to convert the Roman Empire into the Holy Roman Empire?
My daughter, my daughter!
Like his father Julius Caesar, who was officially elevated to the status of God, Jesus Caesarean was not only elevated to the status of God, he recaptured his father's kingdom and expanded the Holy Hebrew Empire all the way to Great Britain and the United States of America.
What then, little king?
A review of royal genealogy charts confirms that today, Israel, Great Britain, and the United States are all ruled by descendants of the Hebrew tribes of Israel. The big question is, if Caesarean was born in 47 BC, how could Caesarean possibly be Jesus? Jesus was born in the year 0, wasn't he? To begin with, the year 0 does not exist on today's Gregorian Christian calendar, which jumps from 1 BC to 1 AD. Experts confirm a 7-year error was made in converting from the Egyptian to the Roman to the Christian calendar. The only way to calculate Jesus' real age is from a Bible quote which states that Jesus was baptized in the 15th year of the reign of Emperor Tiberius. Since Tiberius grew up in Octavia's royal household with Caesarean's half-sister and brothers, That means Caesarion was very close in age to Tiberius,